at 7:03. Has this meeting been properly notified? Yes. Being we just did the Pledge of Allegiance, I will dispense with the We'll call roll. Brittany.
Present.
Jenny.
Here.
Bruce. Present. Melissa.
Here.
I am also present. Dennis.
Present.
Nick.
Here.
Kay.
Present.
David absent. Motion to approve the agenda as presented. So moved. Bruce.
Second.
Nick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is agenda approved. Next item is public comments. We have some guests from Chris's Board that wish to speak to us this evening. So, with that, Mr. Board Member to the floor.
All right. Good evening, Dodgem School Board members and administration. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you this morning. My name is Tracy Malter. I'm a Massachusetts School Board member and a parent of a student who is entering the 11th grade at Dodgem this year through the tuition of the year. I'll focus my comments on gratitude and courage. The landscape for public schools in Wisconsin is changing rapidly, as you know, and change is not always easy. The squeeze we feel as rural school districts is real, and it has the potential for us as districts to divide and turn against one another and let each other stand alone. Instead, this board and administration chose collaboration and partnership. Transformational change can be made with creativity, calculated risk, and a vision for sustainability. I'm grateful for board leadership who took that opportunity to collaborate and partner together to lead and recognize the moral and ethical duty to lead with transformational change. Not with loud declarations or social media posts or theatrical antics, but with steadfast attention and board action to do the right thing for students and public education. This new landscape requires courage, and I thank both districts for the courage to think differently, to collaborate, to make decisions that protect students from being cast out to find their own solution to a problem they did not create. For Dodgeland, this collaboration directs the district towards greater program sustainability. This means protecting and strengthening advanced courses and electives so that students continue to have choices that challenge them and prepare them for life after graduation. It also means creating stability in athletic and extracurricular activities. These programs are about so much more than the scoreboards or historical rivalries. They build confidence, teamwork, leadership, friendship, and a sense of belonging. And when we as rural districts work together, we have a better opportunity to sustain those experiences for students rather than watching programs disappear simply due to declining enrollment or limited resources. I am especially grateful to your principals, your special education director, your administrative staff in both districts. The events and communications throughout the summer have made families feel welcomed, belonged, and prepared for the upcoming school year. Their work behind the scenes matters tremendously, so thank you. As a parent, it has been incredibly effective on students and families' sense of well-being and our own mental health. So as a parent and as a current board member for CUSIS Board, I move forward with gratitude, I move forward with courage, and to face the change that's coming and a commitment to growth that puts students at its center. So board members, thank you for your leadership, your courage, and most importantly, your continued commitment to public education and our children.
Thank you for the comments. Next, we have Steve Weinheimer. Oh, boy.
How back to follow?
I don't have anything else down. So Steve Weinheimer, Tom Hubbard, former Dodgeland graduate. I just wanted to say thank you to the board. You know, we sat here listening to your discussions about this before it ever happened. And, you know, I know there was a lot of concern financially. You just passed a referendum. And, you know, thank you to the board members who were more, well, thank you to the whole board, but I just remember the discussions. Some board members were like, it doesn't matter, we need to help our neighbors. And, you know, as a parent of 3 kids that are coming here, bring this together and think of these new ideas, you know, the two Tods working together to really think outside of the box. I mean, would have never thought this is how things would come together. And, you know, I know all the hard work that the administration has been doing, the principals, special ed, the business offices, you know, secretaries, and just, you know, all the office staff. And then, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of board meetings with these discussions, and I just thankful and, you know, proud of how this has come together. And, you know, like Tracy said, all the events this summer, coming in here, doing the tours with the kids, how they walked out here feeling welcome, feeling excited about, you know, yeah, this is a big change. It's shaking up a lot of people's worlds, and to see the comfort in my kids and then hearing all the positive comments throughout the community, how well those events went, and just how they're all feeling, you know, a nervous optimism and excitement for this upcoming school year. So again, thank you very much to all of you, because it couldn't be done without you. So thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Nate Dern.
Dorn.
Dwayne.
First off, before we even start, I just want to say, I don't understand a lot about finances of schools, so that's something I'm working on, but I understand colors. I'm used to seeing, for whatever reason, Todd would make our numbers green, but by the time you got to the bottom of the page, it's all red. So it's really nice to see a green number. And my name is Nathan Dorn. I'm on the school board in Hughesburg, but I am also a parent as well. I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. I'm going to refer to this Todd as my Todd, and that Todd is your Todd. I don't mean any disrespect, but just it's easier to keep track of it. So. First off, I want to thank the Adoption School Board for your support. That's a pretty easy blanket statement to make, but it doesn't even begin to cover what that means or how much of an impact your support has had. Not just for the kids of Hughesburg, but for the kids here at Dodgeland as well. I came onto our school board back in May when another board member left unexpectedly, and I stepped in to fill the position. I had no idea what was ahead. I knew our school was not in a great spot financially, but I didn't know just how bad it really was. And I want to make something very clear. None of this was the fault of the people who are currently on our board. These issues started years ago with decisions made by people who are no longer sitting in those seats. But ultimately, it doesn't matter who or why it happened. What matters is that at the present time, this board, our staff, and most importantly, our kids were the ones paying the price for it. We found ourselves with so many unknowns. We had little to no options, and we had very little support. Not from the state, and definitely not from our community. It felt like nobody cared. Nobody seemed to care about our staff. Nobody seemed to care about the impact this was going to have on our community. And they certainly didn't seem to care about what this was going to do to our kids and our staff. Amazing doesn't even begin to explain them. My Todd was not hiding anything from them. He held regular meetings with the staff and was completely honest with them and the grim future we were facing, and he never would have known it. They still came to school every single day. They continued to teach. They continued to smile, and not once did they let our kids know the struggles that were happening behind the scenes. The kids had no idea. They loved their little school. It was all they knew. They didn't care it was old. They didn't care that the air conditioning didn't work. They didn't care that things were constantly breaking. They didn't care that the outside playground equipment was minimal at best. They didn't care. They loved that school. But I don't think it was actually the school they loved. I think it was the people. It was the staff. It was our teachers who spent every day in building those kids up and making them feel safe, loved, and important. That's what they loved. So here we were. We were in a position where we literally didn't know what was going to happen to our staff or our kids. Those close-knit family that was about to be torn apart, and the kids didn't even have a clue. We were down to one last effort, a referendum. My Todd and Nicole began working their tails off trying to educate the public and didn't hide anything. They held countless public meetings, gave presentations, brought in experts, answered questions, did everything they possibly could. They were all in, and this was beyond my Todd's normal duties and responsibilities. And then the day came, and the community let us down again. Crickets. Parents were devastated, staff was devastated, kids were devastated, and yet, even the very next day, our teachers were there with smiles on their faces. They showed up for those kids as if nothing had happened. So now what? Where are my kids gonna go to school? How will they get there? Will their teachers be? Are their friends gonna be around? How will this affect my job? Do we need to start looking at moving? Those are just a few of the many questions that we all have as parents. And then you stepped up. Without hesitation, you didn't agree to take a few or even some. No, you agreed to take all of our kids. But you didn't stop there. As a parent, we started getting word that you were also taking many of our staff as well. Maybe some of those teachers were hired because it made sense. Maybe it was easier to bring them on because they already knew the kids. But I want you to understand something. Those teachers mean everything to those kids. And you have no idea how big of an impact that it has had on parents and especially the kids. They were a family. They weren't just teachers. They were at our kids' birthday parties. They were at their ball games. They were at their dance recitals. They were there for their big moments, their little moments, and everything in between. They were more than just teachers. And as a parent, having the opportunity for our kids to continue having those relationships is just another amazing thing that you have all done. It's a true gift. You have put this all together so quickly, and your hard work has not gone unnoticed. As a parent, you gave us something that we desperately needed. You gave us peace. You took away the uncertainty, you answered our questions, and most importantly, you welcomed us into your family. You held an open house for the JEG parents and kids, and your staff was so welcoming. You had an awesome image on the TVs with our two mascots together welcoming our kids. You made it feel like they belonged, and you bailed us out of summer school too. And even there you adapted to us. I remember the first day when we brought our kids. They were nervous, they were even a little scared, but as we walked up to the door together, there stood Mr. Mo. Our kids' faces lit up. Look at our kids' faces said everything. He means so much to those kids. He is so close to all of them, and just seeing him there helped calm them. We got to experience your staff during summer school, and they have just been amazing. The teachers, the principals, all of them, even the custodian staff. But I'm sure you all knew that already. I can see many of the kids settling in and realizing this was their new home. They have no idea how much more they will have now because of you taking us in. Obviously, they have amazing new teachers, as well as even some old faces. But what your facility has to offer is unlike anything they've ever seen before. I certainly hope this gets to continue in the long run and into the future, and it helps provide more opportunities for expansion in sports, extracurricular activities, while also helping lighten the financial load. I know my wife is excited that you didn't have a PTC or a parent-teacher community group, so she quickly jumped on that to start one, so she's already off and running too. Anyhow, that's what you did. You didn't just give our kids a place to go to school, you gave them something familiar when almost everything around them was changing. You gave them their teachers, you gave them their friends, you gave them a sense of normalcy, and you gave us as parents something we desperately needed during a very uncertain time. Next page. A peace of mind. For that, I don't think a simple thank you is enough. But from the bottom of my heart and behalf on many of our parents, our staff, and especially our kids, thank you. Thank you for opening your doors. Thank you for welcoming our kids. Thank you for welcoming our teachers. Thank you for treating our little school like it mattered. Because to us it did. And it still does. We will never forget what you did for us when we needed someone to step up. And you did. You stepped up big. You didn't hesitate. You simply said, we'll take care of them. And you did. And for that, we will always be grateful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all for taking the time to come and express your gratitude. It means a lot to us on this side too, so thank you very much. Right. Next item we have acknowledge a thank you from Ashley Henderson. Item number 7 is our consent agenda. We have the following items on the consent agenda: hiring elementary school teacher, physical education teacher, middle school special education teacher, elementary school five-year-old kindergarten teacher. And we also have the minutes from July 27th, regular board and finance committee on August 10th, and the payment of vouchers for July and August, in the amount of $487,213.70. And accounts payable, computer checks, 26331 to 263 $500. And ACH deposits of 26727, 001 through 0014. And we have the second reading and adoption of the Neola revised school board policies. With all of that, I'd entertain a motion, or if there's any corrections or additions.
I would move to accept the consent agenda except for items, remove items 1 and 3 for further conversation.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I'd like to accept the consent agenda and make a motion to accept it, but I'd like to remove items 1 and 3, the hiring and the payment of vouchers. I have some questions on those. There's a second.
All right, we will then second to approve the consent agenda, except for item 1 and 3.
I'll second that.
Second by Ruth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved except for those 2 items that we'll have some further discussion on this evening.
As we talked earlier, there's it's kind of conflicting. There's 3 and 4 of the 3 positions that you're asking for. Are they replacing existing staff or are they new staff members?
All of them are replacing existing staff with the exception of the middle school special education teacher, which is part of our increased staffing, as we discussed as it relates to uses for.
That's part of ours. That it's not a hire because of the influx of students that we're getting from Houston, correct?
That is a higher due to that.
For them?
Yes,
And are all them in the budget that was presented so far to us to look at?
yes.
Thank you.
And you had some questions on item 3, the human vouchers also?
The vouchers, there's numerous computer upgrades and so forth in that, and I forgot the total is, with 400,000. Was that all part of Brad's presentation? We approved that dollar amount for the upgrade needed?
Yes. And those numbers also will be in the preliminary budget numbers as well.
Outstanding. Thank you for clarifying that.
Right. Any other discussion or questions on those 2 items? Then I would entertain a motion to approve item 1 and item 3, the hiring and the payment of vouchers.
I would make a motion providing the hiring and payment of vouchers.
Yes.
I'll second.
Second by Bruce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those are also approved. All right, next item is support staff acknowledge acceptance letters of resignation, retirement, or support staff. Basically, it is all hires. We have a custodian, 3 special education paraprofessionals, and a food service worker. We're acknowledging the hire of this evening. There, well, in case we don't, we're just acknowledging them, therefore it's acknowledged. Next item, information. CC6 reports.
I don't have anything for that.
Bruce? Anything from WHBK? Nothing. Financial statement and budget update, July 2026. All right.
Easy steps, and I will have that for you. All right, our financial statement, our beginning balance for our annual credit account, we started at $227,509. We ended that account with $375,561. Commercial account, beginning balance of $561,214,000. You see we got some receipts that came in, but we did start to increase some of our expenses. We ended that balance this month at $336,623. We still have our landmark credit union CD, which does have $817,825 in it. That CD is set to mature, I believe, I want to say either the end of November or end of December, and then we'll kind of have an opportunity to make some decisions on that. And then, of course, we have our LG IT account, which has a total of $1.15 million.
asking for, but it's kind of, it says financial budget. Just want to say we held our budget meeting, and I thank the staff here, and Molly, she's not here, for the finance committee. They gave us a lot of information to go over. Our conversations now have been around what type of reporting we want to see back to the board. We're going to decide that at the next meeting. I think every board member should weigh in a little bit if it's more of a line item budget or a bucket budget. But a lot of our conversation was around that, again, for clarity and transparency. But again, the school district did an outstanding job providing all the numbers for the board and finance committee review. So I thank you for that, and we'll be meeting in a couple weeks to move that process on. So thank you to the staff for that.
Thank you for your comments. All right, new business. Discussion approval of the 2025-2026 annual seclusion and restraint report. Any comments on it?
Absolutely, yes, administrative reports.
I'm sorry. Administrative reports. I was got this stuff.
I was too.
You guys got
Almost off the hook until somebody. So guess who gets to go first? Yeah.
I had shared in our memo, we have entered into a contract with PCAL, is what it's called, but it's the Psychotherapy Center of Wanakee, where they are going to have a counselor here 1 day a week. The company will work directly with families through their insurance, and then provide counseling services and mental health services here. It'll remove barriers with transportation and access, parents missing work, kids missing class, and they'll have access to that mental health service through their insurance. There is, we have a mental health grant that will cover the very small cost that it is to the district, that is minimal. But I'm really excited for this, and I'll be able to offer this to families.
Do we know what insurances they accept?
Quite a list, including state insurance.
Very, very quick.
Yes.
I just want to thank Jen for some of the efforts she put in on that. I mean, that was a lot of work to try to get that accomplished. I think it's been an area of opportunity for us. Obviously, as we kind of looked at during the annual meeting portion of things, those were some areas, student services in particular, were some cuts that were unfortunately necessary at the time. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to provide some desperately needed resources to our students in a space where it's sometimes difficult to get resources to students. So thanks for those efforts and giving that opportunity for our kids.
I feel like it should have been way longer.
Should have been way
Sorry.
Who's next?
All right, this is, this week of the year is probably one of my favorite weeks of the entire year because I really, really like my job, but it's really boring when there's no people here outside of, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so starting tomorrow morning, and I last week, they will tell you, I was here before all of them, that's all better. And I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. And so I love being able to see everybody else come back into the building. They've been here, right, like you've seen them off and on, but there's something exciting about starting a brand new school year. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, open house is another one of my favorite times of the year because kids are happy, I get to see their parents, and there's nerds, right, and there's a new teacher, and some people are now going to a new hallway, or the 5th graders that are all coming over here to 6th grade that are like, I don't even get to see you anymore, those kinds of things. And so it's a lot of work, but it's good work, right? And when you work hard on something that matters, it makes you feel good. And so that's happening this week. When I come back next month, I'll tell you more of the specifics about summer den and summer school and all of those other things. But right now, it's been just getting ready so that we can have a really good school year.
Very good, thank you. Yeah, and I'll echo a lot of what Jenny said too. I think the phrase that I hear, and probably we hear the most a lot right now, is, oh, are you excited for the school year to start? And by this time of the summer, I really am excited because we've done so much work up until this point that I want to see it come to life. So I want to see the schedules come to life and the new staff come and become part of our school. And so this is my time that I'm really looking forward forward to it. And it does, like today we had gearing up for middle school and freshman orientation. And so having the kids back in the building was like a whole different energy that doesn't happen during the summer. And so it just reminds us, why we come and do this every day. Because it's fun to work on stuff in the summer with no distractions, but we want kids in the building and we want our staff here. So definitely excited for that. Like I said, yeah, freshman orientation and gear up for middle school happened today. So we had a lot of kids. It was great. A lot of energy, a lot of new faces, a lot of familiar faces. So that was a great success all around. Last Friday, we had our first home football game. If you were watching social media, we had a little bit of lightning that happened right at halftime that postponed, and then it kept postponing. And then we ultimately had to cancel the rescheduled game Saturday night due to lack of attendance. So we did end up taking a forfeit for that game, unfortunately, and a loss, but it just how it played out, unfortunately. We also had a volleyball scrimmage on Saturday, so things are happening, sports are moving. That's another really exciting thing. I love going to sporting events, and I go to as many as I can, and excited to get that back into my schedule. And then, as we talked about students coming in, we were delayed this year a little bit in getting our schedules set, just due to not knowing how many students were going to be where, in what sections, how many sections. And we finally released schedules on Friday, and that's really exciting, and now creates a whole nother level of work as we adjust all those schedules and change. But things are sitting pretty well. We have some larger sections in the high school, but are doable at that level. But things are slowly working out, and everybody will have a schedule by the first day of school. So if there's gaps, they will get filled, trust me.
One thing I would just want to add, you heard a little bit earlier, we appreciate the comments that were made by some folks that came from Spur. Some of the comments that were made earlier, really appreciate all the efforts that were made. One of the things in particular, and we heard it here tonight, was just the humanity around some of the decisions that were made, and the impact that it's had on so many people and our students and their lives, and the impacts that we're able to have. As we were kind of going through the referendum season, as I was going out and having conversations about our own referendum, one of the topics that would always come up was about what's happening with that, and then we'll always quickly move to finances. The number of news reporters or radio interviews that I did, things of that nature, people were always talking about the money. And I think one of the things that was missing in some of that was just the impact and humanity around these decisions. At the end of the day, that's what we're about. We're in the people business, right? And so some of these things aren't as perfectly manufactured and put into a financial space, and it has an impact on kids and families. And so the efforts that our administration put in all of our support staff, as well as Spur administration support staff, to help support our respective boards in making this decision and taking that leap of faith, I think is really impactful and important. And just wanted to say thank you to certainly and the Spurs and our administration and support staff and efforts that we're putting to do that. So we're doing good things, and we're having a big impact, and we're making a difference in the lives of not only our kids, but all the kids that are coming into our building.
Todd,
Yeah.
can I just, I'm sorry, I went to the restroom, I missed everything apparently. I put my name on the list and I wasn't schooled very well, so I apologize if this is out of order, but I wanted to make just a quick comment. And my comment is ditto. So ditto, I can't say it better than my three board members and what Todd had just said. In my 38 years in education, I've not seen an outpouring of support like I've seen here in Dodge and from other school districts. The way the administration has opened their hearts and the staff and the community is just, it's really emotionally moving. And nothing brings more comfort to me as a superintendent knowing that my students who used to have a place to go this year, and they have a place to go where they're going to receive a quality education, have a quality experience. And that's due to leadership. Todd mentioned leadership. It's leadership amongst all the board members. It's Todd's leadership. It's leadership amongst all the administrative team. I'm eternally grateful that you have leaned forward and looked out really for the best interest of not only Dodge kids, but UC kids as well. And I wish you the best in the school year. Tomorrow the teachers come back, which is really exciting. And I know that our parents and our students are excited to be next week. So thank you very much. Thanks for letting me come here and make this your time, my time, your time. Thanks for letting me make these statements. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, now we'll move on to new business. Discuss and approve the 2025-2026 annual seclusion and restraint report.
Yes, you can see the report there. We had no incidents of restraint, but we did have 17 incidents of seclusion over the different sites for 6 different students. The thing that I wish this could show you, but it can't because it's a data point, is what the work that our staff does when a child is having a bad day, whatever that looks like. It is the work leading up to trying to prevent. It's that care that they share in the moment, and it's the work afterwards to help to prevent it from happening again. Those things are definitely happening, those conversations are happening, it's just hard to make that a number. So yep, there are some events, and our staff is really caring to help those students through those moments and prevent them from happening again.
Questions, comments from the board?
How many staff are getting CPI certified and trained this year?
So all of our staff, including 30 as of last Wednesday, have the verbal component, the physical component. On Wednesday, all of our special education staff will be recertified again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nothing else, I entertain a motion to approve. So moved. Bruce?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discuss and approve the revision for the 2026-2027 CISA 5 school nurse contract.
So we currently, our school nursing contract does currently allow for 1 day per week. What we would like to do is increase that to 2 days per week. Currently, we don't have that obviously built into the budget at the moment. We're looking for approval to do that, to move to 2 days a week. Part of that would be, now the nurse was not part of our original staffing plan. We had kind of discussed this for the influx of students from Lucifer. And as such, there obviously were some nursing services that were provided in the Lucifer school district. And so we want to accommodate some of that here. And so that's the reason for the additional day per week that we'll be seeking with, nursing contract.
Okay.
Would the budgetary impact basically be double?
Yes.
Does our current nurse have room in her schedule to
Yes.
accommodate that?
Yeah, we've talked with her and she agreed to do that.
What is the double mean? What is that number?
Yeah.
What is double?
I believe that would probably be right about 60,000 if I'm not mistaken.
60,000 a year.
For the later, correct.
CISA.
Any other questions, comments?
Does it have to be a full day? Because we're not doubling the number of students.
I think, our thought is, probably adding in that additional day just because of some of the, added responsibilities that are going to be there. Part of that is probably with some of the services through special education, and, training the staff and things like that. I don't know if there are other thoughts that we can have.
Yep, we've been working together and also just trying to find some more efficiencies too, and to help with communication. There's a multitude of different pieces that's included. She was, I would say, 1 day a week was tough for her last year. That I think being 2 days a week will be much more manageable for her to do.
Is it the paperwork side of things?
No, actually, she's working quite a bit with kids and responding to situations and helping teachers to prepare for different things. Field trips was something that takes more time than you would think, but it's there, and she's making sure that the communication is happening and teachers are prepared to be able to care for kids. She also does a lot of work working with families for all the things that families encounter and how it impacts kids at school.
I will say as a parent, she caught that my student did not have a medication consent form for the inhaler prior to a field trip. So, I mean, her work is effective
Oh, yeah.
in the prep before they leave the building.
She's very good.
Yes, she is.
You know that. She was the same as one that I'm using.
Yeah, my trouble is that cost, we're using CISA to get 2 days out of that, when what would the budgetary salary be for a full-time RN? Like, it feels like we're paying for something that would equivalently be like a full-time RN, so while it'd be a little low. That'd be a little low for a full-time RN salary, but it just feels like we're stretched, like 2 days a week out of versus full-time, it starts to feel.
I would say, you're not wrong about that. And, it probably would only be probably a little bit more, and that probably would get us to a full-time, space, that probably would be ideal, and that's certainly something we could look at.
Part of the reason we ended up is there was a way to hire.
I think that there was some of that, previously looking for somebody to hire. At the same time, we also made budgetary reduction with the nurse as well. So as part of that, we're kind of in that contracting world that once we move that, because we do need to have a nurse. So there's no avoiding that. So really it comes down to the question of whether or not we employ our own nurse or we contract the nurse. In the current situation, consider the fact that we have a contract in place for next year for 1 day. My thought would be we would go to the 2 days and then maybe at sunset that look for, possibly to hire our own nurse moving forward, because then we would get, 5 days a week. And that would probably be the best option.
A lot more service for just a little more money.
Right.
Yes.
I have two questions. One, is the total cost then 120,000 per year, or was the 60,000 the double cost?
No, that's the double cost.
Yes.
Okay, so currently we pay 30.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was confused. My second question is, how long is this contract? Is it for
4
this year?
years.
There's no way to do like a half of a year and see how it goes with 2 and still put feelers out? Not really.
Probably not. I mean, we're already committed for this school year,
One.
with for 1, so.
Okay. Just curious.
When was the last time we tried to hire a nurse?
We had.
You said it's so hard, I know we had one.
Yeah, we had full-timers here previously, a couple years ago, and then that was, one that got some budgetary going into last school year. So last school year,
I'm saying, but since then we haven't tried to hire somebody, as was suggested earlier.
Because we've had the contract in place, and so you can't, we'd have to make that decision to sunset the contract and then put the posting up.
I guess I'm not convinced we need a full-time nurse either.
I think that's a different conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Right now, we're asking for 1 additional day with the current contract. I think if we were talking about roles, responsibilities, all that kind of stuff, I mean, we're kind of mixing things together. It is an expensive cost, no doubt, for 2 days a week.
We need it. I entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve a second day under the current contract. Or under the administrative contract.
I will second that.
Second by Brittany. Any further discussion or comments? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Great, next is discuss and approve the 2026-2027 66.0301 cooperative agreement with the East Detroit School District for principal, administrative assistant, and director of business services.
So right now, as we kind of talked about, obviously with the students that are coming over to us from Eustisburg, this is one of the areas in which we've kind of talked about some additional support. And so the principal, director of business services, as well as administrative assistant is helping us in the high school office in particular to have sort of a shared agreement as an employee agreement. They would be coming here to help support some of that work. So they would be an employee of the Eustisburg School District. When we have the financially housed, I should say, the Eustisburg School District, we would be receiving the added benefit of some support. In this particular agreement, there wouldn't be any money changing hands. It's just an opportunity then for us to add them kind of to our staff to support some of the work that's being done and to help with some of the transition of the students that are coming over. I think, and so I think there was an ask for some additional support by us that position in particular, the administrative assistant, over time, we anticipate that becoming a full-time position here in our district, because that is a vacant position currently for us. And so that's how it's going to be filled at the moment. So this is essentially just to allow for these positions in particular to be here and essentially be our employees on lease, so to speak.
Further discussion or questions from the board?
Just one question. For disciplinary, is that gonna be based on the student? It's gonna be the sole responsibility of them?
So that'll be it's our responsibility, so if, for example, if Mr. Moe is operating here as a principal, he's a principal. If he was to be working with our administrative team and working with a student with regard to discipline, he certainly could adjudicate discipline based on this agreement. If this agreement wasn't in place, then he would not be able to do that. And so certainly, at the end of the day, this is a position that's housed in Houstonburg, and it's a one-year arrangement to sort of sunset the tuition agreement, right? Depending on what we decide in the spring, what happens with the exclusion process, what happens with the state, all those kinds of things. So there are large discussions that be down the road. But when those individuals are in our district, they would be considered employees of our district at that time.
Does that fall the same with athletic disciplinary as well?
Yes.
Because we don't have, we're not gonna be having their AD for the co-op sports.
No, we have only.
They don't have any.
It'll be-
We don't have any.
Okay.
Other questions?
So this is really just a way to get extra help without costing us,
Right.
Make it official.
right?
Make it official, right?
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Awesome.
Bruce. Second, Jenny. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Next one, we have discussed and approved the 2026-2027 660301 cooperative agreement again with the Houston School District for the Director of Student Services.
So this is essentially the same arrangement, only in reverse. This is a situation in which the Houston School District needs some support in regard to student services, pupil services, special education. And so this would be a situation where Jen, as our Director of Student Services, would provide support for students under the tuition arrangement in Houston. There are some other legal requirements and things like that that require this separation of duty. So there does need to be a designated individual that's handling that as it relates to special education and things like that. And so, so she would essentially serve in that role, and then we would invoice and have some reimbursement for a portion of her costs to do that.
This will give you the authority to have oversight over all the IEPs for the tuition agreement students.
Correct.
Anything else? Questions, comments? I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 cooperative agreement with Houston School District for the following position: Director of Student Services as presented.
Motion by Alyssa, is there a second?
I will second that.
Okay, second by Brittany. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one is also approved. Next item is future agenda items. Anything? Yes.
I don't know if it's for this or if you could move it to committee, I'll leave it up to you as the president. I think there needs to be a discussion on contract approval. Overall, any contract the school gets into.
Probably something, in my opinion, would best be handled at the committee level first of all, and then, bring it to the board for.
I just didn't know really what committee to put it in, that's why.
What committee would be, finance committee, or, are you talking about employee contracts, what,
non-employee contracts,
Vendor contract.
but standard contracts. So I heard a couple of names mentioned right now that we've entered in contract with, I don't remember ever seeing them. Okay, so I don't know if that's,
So vendor contacts primarily,
Yeah,
which would be
correct.
CISA
Correct.
services or whatever.
definitely Susan.
I'll defer that to Todd as to what would be the best way to take that up.
Personnel and finance.
You know, finance, that's what they
Talk about finance, yeah.
All right, anything else? Next item is advanced meeting dates, September 1, first day of school for students and staff. September 7, Labor Day, school is closed. September 14th, finance.
Okay, so that really gets planned. What was that? Finance.
September 28th, Finance Committee at 5:45 and regular board at 6:30. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Bruce. Second by Nick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're adjourned.